What happens when the memory you hold most dear, the one that defines your childhood, is actually built on a lie? We're about to dive into a really powerful story where a magical day at a baseball game 60 years ago turns out to be the key to unlocking a devastating family secret.
You know, I think we've all been there. Have you ever told a favorite story so many times that it starts to, lose its color? That fear that a precious, super personal experience can just fade away with repetition, becoming just words? That's exactly what our narrator, Tommy, is struggling with. So, let's set the scene. Our story actually kicks off 60 years after the main event. We've got a 67-year-old Tommy, and he's standing with his own son right on the spot where the old Forbes Field used to be in Pittsburgh. He's come back to this place, trying to reconnect with that memory, but he's terrified that all those vibrant details are starting to blur.
And Tommy really nails what this feels like. When a memory is fresh, you are right there again. You can smell the popcorn, you can hear the crack of the bat. But every time you tell the story, the senses get a little duller, a few details get dropped, and the passion, it starts to fade until it's just a story.
And just as Tommy's lost in these thoughts, something kind of magical happens. His grandfather, Papa, who's been gone for years, just appears. He's standing by the old ticket booth, and he's here to take Tommy back to one very specific day, October 5th, 1960.
And just like that, the 67-year-old man is gone. In his place is this little 6-year-old boy, just filled with total awe and excitement. Papa hands him a Pirates hard hat and a little bat. And he's not just remembering anymore, he is truly there, reliving this perfect moment with his hero.
The memory just comes rushing back as Papa starts rattling off these legendary lineups. I mean, for the Pittsburgh Pirates, you had guys like Bill Mazeroski and the one and only Roberto Clemente. And on the other side, the mighty New York Yankees, with absolute legends like Yogi Berra and Mickey Mantle. In 1960, these guys were basically gods.
And you gotta love the era. It was all about these larger-than-life personalities, and they had the nicknames to match. You had Dr. Strangeglove for his, let's say, creative fielding. You had Tiger for his intensity. And of course, the Commerce Comet for Mickey Mantle's incredible speed. It was just pure baseball poetry.
But here's the thing. When Tommy asks Papa why this game, out of all the games he'd ever seen, was the best one of his life, the answer has nothing to do with baseball. It wasn't about the home runs or the famous players. For Papa, what mattered most wasn't happening on the field. It was about who was sitting right next to him.
Just as they're soaking in this perfect, nostalgic moment, everything takes a really sharp turn. Turns out, this little miracle reunion, it comes with a catch. Papa explains that their time together isn't just free. It's governed by one single, very powerful rule. And if Tommy breaks it, there are consequences, immediate and final. All of a sudden, the joyful atmosphere gets pretty tense. So Papa lays out the rule. Tommy gets to ask one profound, controversial question. Papa has to answer it truthfully, but the second he does, poof, he's gone forever. So Tommy has this impossible choice. Ask the one question that could unlock a lifetime of pain, but lose this beautiful moment forever? And this is where the whole story shifts. The warmth of that baseball memory just gives way to the cold, hard reality of a broken family. Tommy decides he has to know the truth, even if it costs him everything. So he asks it, the one question that has haunted him his entire life. It just cuts right through all the joy of the World Series and gets straight to decades of pain and confusion. Why? Why did the grandparents he adored suddenly act like he and his sisters didn't exist? And what comes out is just two completely different realities. Papa starts off by saying Tommy's mom overreacted, but Tommy hits back with the terrifying truth. His father, drunk, lined the whole family up on the couch and threatened to kill them with a gun. Papa says he would never have pulled the trigger, but Tommy knows the truth. His father was a liar. And here we get to the heart of the tragedy. See, Papa and Grandma had only ever heard their son's side of the story. He'd painted himself as the victim, a poor, wronged husband whose wife just ran off and stole the kids. So they stood by him, completely in the dark about the real story. And then Tommy drops the bombshell, the one that shatters everything Papa ever believed. While his father was playing the victim, he was living a complete double life. He had another family, a secret he'd been keeping for years. So how did a little kid figure this all out? Well, it's kind of like a detective story.
One day, he finds his dad's toolbox, which was always padlocked, left open. Inside, he doesn't find tools. He finds bundles of letters from Italy. He painstakingly copies a strange paragraph and takes it to the school library to figure out what it means.
And this is the phrase he found at the end of one of those letters. I mean, to a young boy in America, it's just a bunch of foreign words, but he knew they were important. He knew they held the key to all the secrets and anger in his house.
The translation was just devastating. I love you so much. Goodbye, my husband. And it was signed Maria. There it was, undeniable proof. His father wasn't just having an affair, he had a whole other life, and had for years.
So, with the truth finally out there, hanging in the air, this painful confrontation starts to change into something else. A moment of real understanding, of forgiveness, and a new look at what that day in 1960 was really all about.
And what's so incredible is what Tommy says next. He tells his grandfather that he was never angry with him. He got it. He understood that Papa was trapped, that he was also a victim of the same lies that had ripped their family apart. It's just this moment of incredible grace. And as Papa begins to fade away, Tommy is left with one last beautiful realization. For that 6-year-old boy, the heroes weren't the guys on the field like Clemente or Mazurowski. The real hero was the man sitting right next to him the whole time.
And that just leaves us with a pretty powerful question, doesn't it? We all have those core memories, the ones that seem to define our most important relationships. What's yours? And maybe more importantly, are you sure you know the whole story?